kept the whole thing together.
Well, the car's hasn't got any scratches or dents or dings on it, so he's been keeping his nose clean as well.
Yeah, but just think that's what happened at Hidden Valley when he got tangled up there. He copped he lost his points from race 2, I think it was, and he copped a $4,000 fine. So there's no reason. That's the reason why he's kept his nose clean today.
Yeah, keeps your memory fresh, that sort of thing.
Certainly does.
Sharpens up your reflexes, Baz. So Lowndes just maintaining, once again, carbon copy of Heat 2. Out of 4 tenths of a second, half a second gap over his teammates. Gabe Longhurst sitting in just under 2 seconds behind Lowndes. So positions remaining fairly static. Seems to be symptomatic of Oran Park. It's a very fast flowing circuit. You quite often get this situation where the drivers and the cars sit in set positions.
Well, while we're giving some praise to young Garth Tander, the big test is to come, and we're talking about the Australian 1000 Classic at Bathurst, because all this Sprint Series stuff is good, but that's where you really get put to the test on the mountain. Now, it's still yet to be decided whether he'll be teaming up with Jim Richards or Cameron McLean. They are the two drivers that will join the Gary Rogers team, whether it's Jimmy Richards and Bargwanna or whether it's Richards and Tander. That's still to be decided. Here's Crompton. There's no doubt about where he's going. He's teaming up with last year's Shell V8 Supercar champion, Glenn Seaton.
He's really on a charge too, Lee.
Yeah.
I think he started right off the back after that drama in Heat 2. He's up to 15th position. So he's really having a flyer in this final heat.
Weaving his way through the field and enjoying it too. He's right up on the back of Alan Jones, who is in turn right on the back of John Faulkner. Here comes Crompton straight up the inside of Alan Jones on the main straight. Looks across at AJ. Down he comes.
I'm sure this is going to keep the Ford Credit Glenn Seaton Racing team a lot happier. They're slowly climbing their way back toward competitiveness. Glenn has really struggled this year when they've gone to this new 1998 specification Bridgestone tyre. They've had real dramas trying to get heat into the front tyres, and they've really had to do a lot of research, the shock absorber, the chassis settings, and it looks like they're finally heading in the right direction. That's a good sign when you're heading toward the endurance races.
Well, it's been although it hasn't been a full-time year for Neil Crompton in a V8, the smile on his face has never been bigger after he raced in the North American Touring Car Championship last year. To come back to Australia and step in a V8 and a competitive V8, he's been very, very happy with himself. Lap 8 of 18. There is not too much longer to go, and Barry Sheed, this guy's going to do it.
Well, it's so good because, a lot of people say, oh, he's a young kid, he came in, he won the series in his first year. But if there was ever any doubt in anyone's mind, it's completely erased now. He had a terrible year in Europe, and he's come back, and it's so good for him to win. And at the end of the day, he's such a nice kid now. I mean, he's still young and still excellent.
And Barry, what I find so impressive, I find if he goes on and wins the championship today, I find this win far more impressive than 1996. Because if you remember back then, the Holden Racing Team had an enormous advantage in terms of the equipment they were using. And a lot of people were saying, well, with those cars, like a monkey could have won it.
Yeah.
But for this year, it's so much more competitive in terms of the tyre rules, in terms of the competitiveness of his competition. So to win under those circumstances, I find far more impressive.
Oh, yeah, you're totally right. Mind you, the HRT lot's still very, very switched on. And you have to say, if only they would get a control tyre in this series, it would make a lot of difference.
Well, fingers crossed. Let's hope that happens as we get ready to celebrate Craig Lowndes' second Shell V8 Supercar Championship. That'll be on the other side of this break because he leads this one convincingly. Watching race 3, the third and final race, the final round on grand final day here at Oran Park in Sydney. And this is Mobil 1 HRT's Craig Lowndes. He started from pole. He celebrated Holden's 100th pole position. He won the first race. He won the second race. And here he is. He's got a nice hold, a stranglehold, in fact, on the third race. His teammate Mark Scape is sitting in behind him enjoying, and he will enjoy 3 seconds so long as things remain the same, and he'll end up finishing third in the championship. We're on lap 12 of 18. This is the shot from the back of John Bowes' car. Coming onto the main straight, the minor 10 Ford of Mark Larkham, who's been running pretty steady today, in and out of the top 10. Good run by Larkham and a good warm-up with the Enduros coming up. Of course, he finished third. Teamed up with Andrew Medicki last year in the Primus 1000 Classic, and this year he's teaming up with Brad Jones. It'll be an interesting combination. Should be a very successful one.
Yeah, first time I've seen Bradley in a Ford at Mount Panorama. And this is the battle for 10th position continuing between John Bell, Mark Larkham. Larkin. Look behind there, Neil Crompton's continuing his surge toward the front. Started off the back of the grid, he's now up to challenging for 11th position.
Glenn Seaton's managed to squeeze his way past Tony Longhurst, so too has Paul Romano. Have a look at this bunch here, this is good stuff. Crompton at the back of this pack, Larkin right on Bow's hammer. Just in front is Larry Perkins and Garth Tander sitting in 8th spot. There they go through now. Alan Jones has just come out of the pits by the looks of things, because Crompton overtook AJ not that long ago. So
the order now, Lowndes, Scape maintaining that 1 second, half a second cushion behind his teammate Bargwana in 3rd, Seaton in 4th, Romano 5th, Longhurst hanging on in 6th with Ingle just behind him, Tander, Perkins, and this is the battle for 10th between Bow, Mark Larkham and Neil Crompton in the second of the Ford Credit Falcons.
If you're a Ford fan, this is heaven here. You got 3 of them in a row. Bow, Larkham, Crompton.
Except at the wrong end of the field.
Yes,
I was going to say, no, they prefer him at the front, though.
Well, a lot of expectation when the new AU Ford comes on stream next year. The car's going to get its public launch in September. Hoping to see one of the cars currently under construction by the race teams make a few demonstration laps at the Australian 1000 Classic at Mount Panorama in November. And then Ford comes on full stream with the new car next year. Should be a beauty.
Now, we've been talking lots about Neil Crompton making his way from the back of the field up in just outside the top 10, and he makes a move on Mark Larkham. Can't quite do it that time. Another Ford driver who's been going terrific, or 2 of them in fact, Stephen Johnson and Jason Bright. They have come from right at the back of the pack into 15th and 16th position respectively. Now Crompton's got a battle on his hands here. Faulkner is all over the back of him.
Yeah, really applying some pressure behind this trio of Fords. John Faulkner, he's currently running back there in 13th position. So a great battle just outside the top 10.